Hi guys, Joe here. I'm going to try and make this as coherent as I possibly can with the limited knowledge that I have on the black cube and Saturn. But the reason why I'm doing this video is primarily to highlight the duality of this realm that we live in. But where the motivation to do this video on the black cube has come about, as I've just mentioned, it's more on the duality of this realm, the polarity. So what I'm just going to quickly read from the Kabbalion, the Hermetic philosophy, and I've lost the page. Now here we are. So there's basically seven Hermetic principles. The Hermetic principles were founded, I believe, by Hermes Trismegistus, I believe is how you pronounce his name, and he was the first occult mystic back in I wouldn't even be able to tell you how long ago. But anyway, the principle of polarity is everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. It's something that I've come to learn is very apparent about this realm that we live in. You know, for every argument, there is a polar argument with quite strong evidence to support each argument. Take the flat earth and the globe as an example. One subject which gets people in an absolute array of emotions. You know, it really is an emotive subject. But anyway, I digress. So the black cube, what is a black cube? The black cube in mythology is it's a representation of the limitation and suffering within this realm. It's associated with the planet Saturn. And the planet Saturn is the lord of matter and materialism. Now, I was just doing a bit of research looking for a black cube, and I came across, I think it was the PlayStation. It's called the black cube, and it's called hex. Now, hex is when you cast a spell on someone. The black cube is worshipped by the gods, whatever word you want to give whoever runs this realm, it's worshipped by them, and that is because it is the lord of matter. Now, when we come into this realm, we pass through the planets, and I got that information from the book Alchemy and Mysticism, and I'll just read quickly what it says here. So each planet impresses a negative property upon the soul as it passes, dulling it in the process. Venus, immodesty; Mercury, miserableness; Mars, wrath; Jupiter, vanity, etc. After death, the earthly body remains behind as a shell in Tartarus, and the soul rises through the region of air, which is Behemoth, and back up to the Archontes. Although these attempts to obstruct the soul's passage, so basically the archons, i.e. planets, are there to obstruct the soul's passage to escape out of this material realm. Hence, precise knowledge, gnosis, of the passwords and signs is required to open the way to sevenfold purification. Now, where do these signs and messages reside? Coded in images, and I'll get onto that in a minute. The passages through the final sphere is the most difficult. According to Ophitic doctrine, this sphere's master is Saturn, the demiurge, the accursed god who created time and space. He's the serpent guiding paradise. Now, in another part of this book, it talks about Saturn being led. And just as an allegory of that, you've got you've got lead, which Superman cannot see through. So Superman can be poisoned or whatever in the films because he cannot see through lead. So it's a weakness that he has, a weakness to ascend out of this realm is to pass through Saturn, and we can't get there unless we have the notice and the knowledge, according to the Gnostics. So what has encouraged me to do this video on duality is reading J.W. Phipps's book of the YouTube channel Library of the Untold, and his book is called Book of Wonderful Suffering on the Transmutation of Pain into Spiritual Growth. And he's got a section on that regarding the black cube. Me and Michael Feely, when we had our interview, we touched on Saturn, the black cube, and Satan, and 666, and the polar meaning of what we have been led to believe that Saturn, 666, and Satan represent, comes back to this realm of duality. So basically, Saturn at the North Pole has a hexagram. A hexagram is, you look at a cube at a certain angle, you will see, or from above, you will see a hexagram, a six-sided hexagram. So that is why Saturn is associated with the black cube. And my notes are all over the place. So the black cube comes from the hexagram at the North Pole of Saturn. Looking at a cube from the corner, it's clearly a hexagram. In mythology, Saturn represents limitation and suffering. Does this equate to the cube representing the human body? Now, 666 can represent the human body because we have 6 electrons, 6 protons, 6 neutrons. Saturn and Satan, the reason why they are interlinked is because, aside from the similar sounding name, Saturn and Satan are both the lords of materialism. So when you think about the PlayStation's black cube hex, the black cube to the overlords of this realm are about materialism, and they want to lock us in materialism. So while we are playing in on using the black cube, and it's called a hex, it's a cast is being spelled, and we are in a materialistic realm whilst that hex is being, so basically pushing us further and further into matter. So I have done many videos on us being the soul trap and we being pushed further into matter. The Bible says we're born into original sin. The original sin being 666, matter, and that's where the number 666 is associated with the beast, the devil, whatever you want to call it. However, a cube laid flat is a cross. Christ was crucified on a cross. Does this symbolize him being freed from the black cube of the material world? Now, just going back to what I said about things being coded and what in this book it says about, so the spheres, blah, 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 is basically the passwords and signs is required to open the way to the sevenfold purification, which is about decoding the images that are in old occult paintings, which is what Michael Feely actually does do. But that is how, in order for us to decode, to get out, to pass the lead of Saturn, is to learn to decode these images. That's what I deduce from that passage in that book. Now, if we think about the left hemisphere of the brain and the right hemisphere here of the brain, the majority of the population are one side heavy. So you've got left side, which is all about logic and reason, and you've got right side, which is about I'm going to use the word New Age spirituality, i.e. going to the false light, which I've come to learn that the New Age philosophy is actually Satan worship because it's all about the material manifesting riches. But anyway, so if you are left brain heavy, you will look at images that have been left with us from ancients to decode, but you won't see the images, you won't see the decodes because you work too much on logic and reason, and you haven't got that creative flair. Equally, if you are right brain heavy and you've got a lot of creative flair, you won't have the logic and the reason in order to decode the images within the messages that have been sent from the ancient world, as in the artworks. So this is why they have created a realm that is very either left brain heavy or right brain heavy. And as I said in previous videos, we need to be balanced. We need to be able to use logic and reason and creativity in equal measures. So on the polar opposite of what I've just said about Saturn, Satan, 666, and the material realm, we also have 666, which is the bringer of light, which is something that I learned when I did my interview with, here comes my cat, when I did my interview with Michael. So, and how he comes to this, so 666 on the polar opposite of 666 being matter, material, the beast, is the follower of light, i.e. the sun. So Pythagoras is the grand master of illumination. Pythagoras had a secret number for the sun, which is 36. If you add all the numbers up, 1 plus 3, 2, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, etc., etc., it comes to 666. There are also 9 pyramids of 4 sides. 9 by 4 is 36. So the planet Sun is light, seeing, and Saturn is related to listening. That's why, as Michael said in my interview with him, in new initiates, they don't speak, they just listen because they are here to learn. And we now know from the alchemical book, we are here to learn to pass the lead of Saturn by using passwords in and decoding the images. And this is why we've got people like Michael Feely to teach us this. So Saturn, Satan. Saturn deals with limitation of matter. So what I deduced from that, the conclusion I came up with, was the very thing that traps us, Satan, Lord of Matter, is the very thing that will liberate us.